What's up guys, C2113 here, and in today's video we're going to be installing an ATOTO A6 Pro double DIN Android head unit into an 03 Mercury Marauder. Alrighty guys, so I'm here in the garage with the Marauder. Again, apologies for my voice. I am still a little sick, but let's go ahead and get into the video. Now before I get started in the car, I have laid everything out super ghetto style on a piece of cardboard on the ground just to protect it, to show you everything that I'm using in this installation and what you might want to use or get for your installation. So we'll start over here. Obviously, to remove the factory radio, you're going to need these tools right here. If not, you can also use some hard wire, but these are super cheap. You get them on Amazon. I'll leave a link in the description for these. This is the 70-5521 Metra Ford harness kit. So this includes the sub amp turn on and all that, not just the primary. If you're doing this on a base model Grand Marquis or Crown Vic, you may not even have the sub and the amp to turn on, so you can just remove this from the equation, and they have one that just has the standard harness that doesn't have this in there. It's a little cheaper. I'll leave a link in the description for that as well. This is a set of pin removal tools for a harness pin. So harness pins come in all shapes and sizes, but generally the ones that I used were the super flat pry tool and the super pin flat pry tool. But basically, long story short, if you want to get steering wheel controls to work with this setup, you need to be able to tie into the steering wheel control line. The problem is the Metra harness, as it comes from the factory, does not include a steering wheel control pin. I don't know why they don't put that in there, because they do put in a power antenna line, which is the blue. However, I've already moved it from the upper bridge of connections there to the lower bridge. So the lower tier of pins there ranges from 14 to 20, and what you want is to get that blue pin into 18. 18 is your steering wheel control pin, and so that's what you need. And since you don't have to worry about a power antenna on a Marauder, you don't need that. So next, what I have here is a Metra 95-5817 Ford double DIN multi-kit installation kit. I'm not sure if I'm going to need this or not, considering how wide this unit is, but I just got it just in case there's large gaps on the side. I don't think a top and bottom gap is going to be an issue. Now you have to remember with this kit, the way it's set up when you get it, if you just pop this in the way it is, you'll never get that radio out again without pulling the dash. That's because of these retaining clips right here. So the key thing is, if you ever want to take this thing apart easily, or if you get a loose connection, or if you get a dead component in the radio or something like that, make sure you use your Dremel and shave these off. That way you can slide this thing in and out, but I'm not sure I'm going to need this yet. Now when it comes to the ATOTO direct stuff, you have the ATOTO A6 Pro head unit. Obviously we have our GPS antenna, our Wi-Fi antenna, our dual USB connection right here, our external microphone, our primary harness, and an installation bracket. Probably not going to need this either, but just thought I'd show it here in case it was needed. With that being said, let's go ahead and get into the car and get started. Alright guys, because trying to get a tripod in here is a real pain in the ass, I'm going to try and do this one-handed, but only showing you the important bits so it's not just 100% shaky cam. So when you get these tools, if you get the ones that are kind of splayed out a little bit, just squeeze them, find the two holes, line it up, slide it all the way in, and push until it clicks. Do the same on the other side. So once it locks in, and then what you're going to want to do is you're going to push out on both sides and then pull back. And the radio should come right out. I'll be back when I get that done. Just like that, the radio comes out. We go ahead and grab it. And we want to be careful because we have to get to the connections on the back. So I just rest it easily here. Now we just got to pull these connections on the back. Alright guys, I got the radio out. Now here is the tricky part. The opening in the dash, as it is from the factory, is not quite a double DIN. Because of this lip on the top and the tiny lip on the bottom, a double DIN unit will not fit. But a double DIN unit can fit, provided you shave down these thin little overhangs here. Now the Marauder, they do have a little bit of felt padding on there, but you can peel that off. And so what I'm going to go ahead and do is get my Dremel and take care of that excess lip on the top and the bottom. Again, try your best to remove only as much as you need. So sort of go slow and keep double checking. It's a slower process, but that makes sure there won't be any rattles and excess play when you're finally ready to install your head unit. All right, guys, so after dremeling for probably a good half hour, just to make sure I didn't do anything too crazy in there, as you can see, because of the size of this head unit, I pretty much had to take out the whole top and bottom lip, but the edges are still there. So, you know, for some reason, if I did feel like I still wanted to put the old head unit back, I'm pretty sure those lips would still be enough to hold it in place. As well, just be careful to put something inside there so you don't fill the entire dash cavity with little plastic particles. I'm still gonna get the shop vac and vacuum out the inside as well, but this just helps keep the harnesses and everything back there protected from all the molten flying plastic. So with that being said, I'm going to clean up this inner cavity and then we're going to start hooking up the head unit. So, you know, we're getting down to business now. All right, guys, so we got the harness hooked up to the back of the head unit here. But before we just connect that and shove it all into the dash, there's a lot of other things that we need to do to get full functionality out of this unit. Now, first, we got to remember we got USB connections, right? So if we want to be able to use any USB devices, we got to connect this up and find somewhere to route it that's also not highly visible and ugly. Now for me, I know that there's an easy path from the back of the head unit here all the way down to this area right here. And I can just tuck the cables behind this carpet and you literally won't be able to see them unless you're sticking your head in the footwell. And then on the rare occasion that I do want to connect something through USB, I can just pull that cable out. So that takes care of the USB. But then we still have the antennas to deal with. So we've got both our GPS and our Wi-Fi antenna. Now GPS, my thought on this is mounting it right up in here. So behind this lip, there's actually a decent sized space here and it'll stick right on and it'll put it within an inch or two of the top of this plastic dash. Really shouldn't impede GPS signal one bit. Wi-Fi is even more tolerant of, is far more tolerant of blockage of line of sight for obvious reasons than GPS, and that can actually stick on right on top here, as you can see, because this antenna is quite thin. Now I'm going to test it out first, obviously, before I go full full commitment with the adhesive. But if it doesn't fit, I can also stick it in the back here, and that works just fine as well. Obviously, if you're going to be doing any sort of 3M adhesive type thing, you want to have both isopropyl alcohol or any sort of alcohol that you can use to wipe, and a relatively lint-free cloth. These shop towels usually are pretty lint-free for me. That ensures that there's no dirt, no oil, and that the adhesive will work right the first time, because with these adhesives, if it doesn't work the first time, you usually don't get a second chance. That takes care of the antennas, but there's still one more item we got to worry about, and that's of course the microphone. Now this one, I'm actually still a bit puzzled, so you know, it's going to take me a little bit of thinking to figure out where I'm going to put this. On my Continental, I was able to sort of just tuck it in between here, but because this car's got a tilt wheel and this is the point of articulation on the Continental, it's actually, you know, a much longer steering column, and so it tilts over here, and so where it protrudes through the dash is actually stationary. I can't just shove it in here because if I tilt the wheel, it'll either crush the mic or it'll fall out. So, and then if I put it inside there, it's going to sound muffled because it's inside, well, inside the plastic encasement of the dash. And I don't want to put it underneath in the footwell because, again, it's going to sound too far away. I'm trying to think if maybe there's a way that I can mount it up here and maybe have it just behind here in the visor. The struggle with that is, again, you know, routing that wire is going to be a huge pain. So I'm going to have to figure out exactly how I can do that. If not, I might just, well, you know what? One of the places I was thinking was my town car. I had a ambient lighting system, and it was one of those super affordable mini remote systems that had, of course, the 4 LED light bars and then a little IR remote and a little receiver and a driver module. And I had the little receiver peek out from behind this carpeted panel right here. And I'm wondering if maybe I can get the microphone to peek out right behind here. And if it sounds good, I'm going to leave it there because, again, that's going to be very, very minimal, almost impossible to see unless you're looking for it. All right, guys. So with that being said, I got my work cut out for me, but again, it's really starting to come together. I have tested it, but I'm going to wait till the end to show you guys so that, you know, it's all together in the dash so you see what it really looks like. But it does work. It does play well with the speakers. So let me get this all together and show you what it looks like. All right, guys, so I got the full install done. Now, I think after a few days when I have some more time, I'm probably going to pull this back out again, maybe clean up some of the stuff in the back even more. I think I eliminated most of the rattle sources, but I think I'm going to be more thorough if I have more time. And then also, depending on how I like it, I'm probably going to put in the brackets if they can fit. Because again, I don't want to eliminate those last two lips on either side unless I'm 100% positive I want to keep this thing. So anyway, but here, let's go ahead and show you what it looks like booted up. So there it is. So I've already booted it up once. So obviously it has a quick boot feature. So you're not going to actually have to restart from dead completely every time the thing starts, which is great. So as you can see here, this is what the home screen looks like. Now, obviously I've moved some stuff around. So for example, I don't listen to the actual radio hardly at all. So I still wanted to have it somewhere quick access. So I put it on the second homepage. First homepage, I keep my music right here, and Pandora, YouTube is still there. I haven't moved around everything that I want yet. I'm not sure I'm going to keep DVR there. Not even really sure exactly what that does yet. I probably will move aux as well since I haven't had that hooked up yet. And then all of these things on the bottom here, this is your app tray. This is Google Maps, music, settings, your video player, radio, and your phone app. This allows you to do Bluetooth things. And as you can see here, I've named my radio Egg Roll. And there's my phone. So it's currently not paired because it'll do wonky things if I try to record a video at the same time. But that's pretty much it. Oh, and also wanted to show you where I mounted the microphone. For now, I got it wedged right down here. When you get down and close to it, it looks kind of obvious, but otherwise you really can't tell. So I'm okay with it. If I find that location is neither good for calls nor my sanity, then I'll find somewhere else to put it. But for now, that seems like a nice compromise because it's not too low down and it's not so high up that it's difficult to find a routing and mounting setup. So just to show you that things do work, I'm gonna go ahead and go to YouTube, and I will go ahead and search for copyright-free music, and we'll play something. Let's see, something. We'll just go to no copyright sounds, and we'll start with one of these. Steering wheel controls do work. I programmed mode to be play pause. Volume keys work. And skip is this. So I don't want you to sit here and listen to music through my speakers, through my phone, through your browser and your device. But it does work and it plays very well with the factory speakers. The only peculiarity that I found that is quite a bit annoying, but I'm hopeful that they'll fix it in a software update, because from everything I've seen, they're pretty good with software. So if we go to the sound profile and we go to subwoofer. So if we go to the sub output, there's a peculiarity. So there is an auto feature. So if you switch this switch off, which is off by default, it's an auto mode. And also the subwoofer, when you first plug in the head unit, it's going to be off by default, so you need to turn that on. So if the sub is in auto mode, it should basically auto adjust its volume, and that's the theory anyway, but you can still select the frequency. However, and I think that this is basically just like your low pass filter. So I use it seems to sound the best and cleanest at 80. Generally for me, I run them at 80, but on the Continental it seems to run better at 120. Anyway, the point is here, the problem with the auto mode is that the sub is just too loud. So the sub comes in very aggressively and way too loudly in the low part of the volume band, and it's just way too aggressive in comparison to the volume ramping for the regular speakers. And so basically, by the time I'm at like maybe 9 on the volume scale here, it's ready to blow the sub. So I don't know if that's just this application that's messing it up, but it would appear that it's not just this application, but I guess I can't really be sure. But that needs to be fixed. So, you know, ATOTO, if you can fix that, that'd be really, really good. Or, you know what, if you can give us a default starting point for the sub so that we can manually adjust it. Because if I had an aftermarket sub, I could just adjust the volume, you know, of the base volume of the sub, and I could account for that, you know, no problem, right? I could say, hey, let me turn the volume down of the sub to equal out the difference. And so then basically the ramping would be the same. Because you know what? I say that the ramping is more aggressive. I think really what it is the volume starts so much higher, but it could be both. So ATOTO, work on that volume ramping curve, work on that initial sub volume setting, and give us some more options. Because the thing is, when you set it manually like this, it doesn't automatically adjust. Because I was thinking it was going to be just like the setting on my Retro Sound Model 2 on the Continental, where, you know, you set the max volume for the sub, or you set the base volume for the sub, but the sub obviously still responds to the system volume settings. Unfortunately, that's not true here. It seems like this completely divorces the sub from the system volume settings, and when you have it connected with the system volume settings, the sub is out of proportionate loud at pretty much every volume. So anyway, that's pretty much all I got, guys. That's what it looks like installed. It is bottomed out, so it's not like I can push this in anymore, and I think it looks pretty good. The only thing is there's somewhat of a gap on either side, so like I said, if I end up deciding that I really do want to keep this long term, I will shave off those, I may shave off these inner lips and put in that Metra bracket to give it that finished clean look. But honestly, I wouldn't be too mad at this either. You know, I kind of accepted that it was never going to look as clean as the Town Car did with an aftermarket head unit. But so far, so good. I'm pretty happy with it. So anyway, guys, if you liked the video, please give me a like. I put a lot of time and effort into this video, so I'd appreciate it. If you have any questions, comments, or if you have one of these things and you have something to say about it, please leave that in the comment section below. And if you want to see more, don't forget to get subscribed.